Hello, folks. This is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball, the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on July 14th, 2018. If you'd like to play my game, Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. I have 7 strategies with my game, Decoding the Powerball. So, strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to demonstrate on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 19, 21, 27, 46, and 47. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list, and then I take the last 3 drawings of numbers and I'll transfer these numbers over to the game card as red numbers. Then I'll do the same thing with the orange area, the green area, the blue, and the purple. I have 5 different colors, one to represent each one of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so how this works is, again, there's 69 white ball numbers. I divided them among 5 colors, which equals 13.8. Okay, so my goal is to have either 13 or 14 numbers per color. Okay, so for this drawing here, I have 15 red numbers, 14 orange, 13 green, 12 blue, and 15 purple. And the number of colors change with every single drawing. Okay, so over here to the right is 244. This tells me how many color code drawings I kept track of so far. And again, these are the color code drawings, okay? So out of this 244 drawings, 126 drawings have been a 3-color combination. 86 drawings have been a 4-color combination. 24 drawings have been a 2-color combination. And only 9 times out of 244 drawings have all 5 colors come up together. And never has it been just one color. Okay, so this number right here, this number 4, this tells me how many colors just came up in the last drawing. So you can see there was 1 blue, 2 green, 1 orange, and 1 purple for 4 colors total. Okay, so what I do is I try to correctly guess what the next number here will be. Okay, so more than half the time, it does come up a 3-color combination. Okay, so the overall strategy is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so again, there's 69 white ball numbers. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners. So that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I just think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me out with that, I'm going to turn to how all 5 colors hardly ever come up together. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these colors won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so for me, for this drawing, I don't think any orange numbers are going to come up. And the reason why is because an orange number has come up in the last 6 drawings here. Okay, so I just think that it's due to miss, actually 7 drawings. Okay, so I just think that it's due to miss now. All right, so I'm going to eliminate the orange numbers off of the game card. Okay, so the thing about this is that we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. Okay, so you may look at it and say, no, I don't think any green numbers are going to come up, or I don't think any red numbers are going to come up. Okay, so again, we're all going to look at this differently. But for me, I don't think any orange numbers are going to come up. So I'm going to eliminate these off of the game card. So I'm going to scroll to the right just to speed things up. Okay, so this is what the game card looks like so far with no orange numbers to it. Okay, so when I block out a number like this, This means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is, again, spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the power play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these orange numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my bet and none of these orange numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, and how this works is up at the very top is the master for each individual number. Okay, and over here to the right are the numbers that just came up in the drawing. Okay, so you can see it was the 19, 21, 27, 46, and 47. Okay, so that turns out to be a 3-group combination. Okay, so I'm going to reduce this down so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, and what you're going to see is that I divided all the 69 numbers into 7 groups. Okay, so the first group of numbers are 1 through 9. Okay, and that has 9 numbers to it. And then the second group has 10 through 19, and that has 10. And then all the rest of them have 10 numbers as well. The 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. Okay, so again, there's 7 groups total. All right, and there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I know that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. All right, now how I use this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings. Okay, and the reason why I like to break it down into 5 is because when I go back into the history of things, it's just easier to count on 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Okay, but the other reason why I do it is my theory is that if there's lots of hits within this certain group of numbers for this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa. Okay, so again, the overall strategy is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so for this drawing here, I don't think any 40 numbers are going to come up. Okay, because within this 5 drawings so far, there's been 7 numbers here. Okay, and that's way over the average of 4 or even 3. Okay, so I just don't think there's going to be an 8th. There could be, but I don't think there will be. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate the 40 numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to blow this back up. Okay, so another way that you can use this, if you get my game, is that you could highlight one certain number, like the 19, and go down and see what colors have been there. Okay, so you can see with this 19, there hasn't been a red number in a long time. Okay, so since the 19 just barely came up, maybe it will be a red number here pretty soon within the next 3 drawings. Okay, so that's something that I keep an eye on. Okay, another way that I use this is I try to correctly guess how many groups will actually come up. Okay, so usually it's either a 3 or a 4. Okay, once in a while a 5 will come up. Okay, and once in a blue moon a 2 will come up. Okay, so I'll show you an example of a 2 right here. Okay, so you can see that there was 2 20 numbers and 3 60 numbers for 2 groups total. Okay, so since I haven't seen a 5 in a little while here, I'm thinking that maybe a 5 will come up. Okay, and maybe even another 3. Okay, so, it's just something that I keep an eye on. Okay, so that's how I use that. So I'm going to go back to the game card. And like I said, the overall strategy is to eliminate numbers, and I don't think any 40 numbers are going to come up. So as I scroll to the right, You can see what the game card looks like so far, and this is with no 40 numbers and with no orange numbers from the color code. Okay, so if I'm correct with my guesses here, and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 3, picking my numbers that I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all the 69 numbers and divided it into 4 different groups. Okay, and I put colors to these groups. So when the Powerball numbers land within these groups, I record where they land down here in the stats. Okay, so this is for the red area, the blue, the orange, and the green. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that came up were the 19, 21, 27, 46, and 47. So as I go back, the 19 is right here. Okay, it shares this square with the 67, and I'll go over that in a second. Okay, and the next one was the 21. Okay, and that's over here in the blue. So the 19 and 27 came up. So down here in the red, you can see that I have a 2 here. And again, that represents the 19 and the 27. So over here in the blue area, the number that hit there was the 21. So you can see that I have a 1 there. That represents the 21. In the orange number, no Powerball numbers, winning Powerball numbers landed in that area. And over here in the green, the 46 and 47 came up, so I have that 2 that represents those 2. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess where these zeros are going to come up. Okay, so if I could have correctly guessed that none of these orange numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, I could have eliminated all these numbers and really gave myself a better chance at picking the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I have 15 of these option cards. Okay, and the reason why I have so many is because I want to give myself as many options as possible to find these zeros that are going to pop up. Okay, so they all have the same colors as far as red, blue, orange, and green. Okay, so as I go through, you can see where the red area is in option card number 1. And the red numbers, the red group here of numbers is what this looks like in option card number 2. And now number 3, 4. So you can see how I divided up these numbers into different groups here. Okay, so I have a group 1 overview, which this is the group 1 overview right here. Okay, so this represents how many zeros popped up in all 15 option cards. So in the last drawing, there was 4 of these zeros that popped up in the red area. There was 3 in the blue, there was 2 in the orange, 3 in the green. Okay, so what I look for is a blue spot here. Okay, a blue spot means that at least 5 or more zeros were in that color code area. Okay, so the last one was in orange. There was more than 5 zeros to it. So I'm going to go over on how this works. Okay, so you can see that there was 4 zeros in the red area. So here's 1. And as I go through, okay, so here's the second 0 in the red area. Okay, here's the third. And here's number 4. Okay, so again, when I look at that group 2 overview, I want to try to guess correctly which one of these colors will have at least 5 or more zeros to it. Okay, so I'm going to go and pick what I think where the zeros are going to pop up for this drawing. Okay, and I'm going to start with option card number 3. No green numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one, and again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. Okay, but the reason why I'm picking this one is because you can see it has a couple of single zeros to it. Okay, And every once in a while, these zeros will double up or even triple up, like over here, okay? So as I go down, you can see that there was a bunch of single zeros here, okay? There's actually 15, so you can see that there's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, okay? So I just think that there's going to be a 0 right here, okay? And if that happens, then that means that none of these green numbers will be coming up, okay? So I want to get rid of them. And I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far, okay? Again, with no orange numbers from the color code, no 40 numbers from the individual numbers, and now no green numbers from option card number 3 in group 1. Okay, so again, if I'm correct with my guesses here, then the 5-way winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1. Actually, I'm going to explain these numbers off to the side here right now. Okay, so this 8 shares the square with the 66. The 19 shares the square with the 67. The 25 with the 65. The 53 with the 69. And the 58 with the 68. Okay, so as I go back to this group 1 here, you can see I have no numbers off here to the side. Okay, so what I do is, again, this 19 shares the square with the 67. Okay, so if I get rid of this group of numbers, okay, I'm going to get rid of them as a group, okay, and that includes the 19 and the 67. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, the reason why I have these numbers off here to the left is because of the color code, okay? So I need some separation, okay? So I can't have the 19 crammed in here with the 67 because the 19 here is red and the 67 here is purple. So if I got rid of all the purple numbers, then I would get rid of the 67, but the 19 would still be in play, okay? So that's how that works. I hope that makes sense to you, okay? It's all about grouping up numbers, all right? So what I'm doing is I'm grouping up numbers, and then I'm trying to correctly guess if they're going to come up in the lottery or not come up, okay? And again, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1 here, and my next guess is going to be option card number 5, no green numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm taking this is because you can see this row right here. What this row represents is that all 4 colors got hit. Okay, so I call that a row, and as I go down through the history of things, you can see that where the rows are. Okay, so I don't think there's going to be a row right here. Okay, so I think that one of these is going to be missed, and I just think that the green one kind of makes sense to me. Okay, so again, we're all going to look at this differently, but I think that there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so I don't believe that any of these green numbers are going to come up. So I'm going to eliminate them, but I'm going to eliminate them through the game card. Okay, so here's the game card again. I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far with no green numbers for the option card number 5. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1, and my next pick is going to be option card number 10, no orange numbers. Okay, so here's option card number 10. The reason why I'm picking this one is because you can see that there's been 15 drawings in a row where an orange number has come up. Okay, so I don't think any of these orange numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them. And again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. You may look at it and say, no, I think it's going to be another row. Okay, so if that happens, then you want to make sure that all 4 of these colors are represented when you pick what you think will be the 5-way winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go back to back to the game card. I'm going to scroll to the right. Okay, and this is what the game card looks like so far with no orange numbers to it now. Okay, so I'm getting the numbers down here, so hopefully I picked correctly. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1 for one last pick, and that's option card number 12, no blue numbers. Okay, as soon as my computer lets me. Okay, so here's option card number 12. And the reason why I'm picking this one is because the blue area has a couple of single zeros here to it as well. Okay, so I just think it's due to double up. I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, which means I don't believe that any of these blue numbers will be coming up. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far with no blue numbers to it. Okay, so again, if I made all the correct guesses and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card here. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do with group 1. That's all I feel comfortable picking. And now I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1 where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups. Okay, so again, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So I know that 3 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these colored groups will not have a winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group off of the game card. Okay, so maybe you heard the saying of divide and conquer. Okay, so this is what I'm doing with the Powerball. I'm dividing it up into different sections and trying to conquer it that way. Okay, so this is just another way to look at groups of numbers. Okay, so how this one works is I'm going to blow this up just a little bit. I have 15 of these option cards as well. Okay, and they all have the same color group as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, and yellow. Okay, so down here is where I keep the stats. So you can see this 0 right here down in this where I keep the stats for the red numbers. Okay, this 0 means that none of these red numbers came up in the last drawing. Okay, and you can see that this 2 means that 2 out of the 5 white winning numbers, white ball numbers, landed in this red area. Okay, so I like to break things down. I like to record things in 5 drawings at a time. And the reason why I do that is because it will show me a majority of things. Okay, so you can see that there was 3 zeros out of the 5 drawings, so the majority was misses. Okay, so when that happens, I color the background blue for cold. Okay, so the next one down, you can see that the majority was hits. 3 out of the 5 drawings were hits, so I colored the background red for hot. Okay, so as I go down through the history of things, because the lottery is so random, I know that nothing can stay cold forever and nothing can stay hot forever. So when I see something that's been really hot like this, I know that eventually it's going to turn cold. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so as I go down through, you can see all these things. Okay, so you can see that this is a red area because it's already had 3 hits to it. Okay, I got one more drawing right here. And you can see that over here, this is already blue because it has 3 zeros to it. Okay, 3 misses to it. And now you can see these yellow areas. Okay, so these are right on the fence here. Okay, yeah, I got 2 hits, 2 misses. What's it going to be? Okay, do you think it's going to be another 0? Do you think it's going to be cold? Or do you think it's going to be blue? Or do you think it's going to be red? Okay, so that's why I divide things like that. All of this is geared up for you to make a decision, okay, on what groups of numbers is going to come up or not come up. Okay, so for me, my first pick here is going to be, I don't believe that any purple numbers are going to come up. I think there's going to be a 0 here, okay, which as I go back up through, again, I don't believe that any of these purple numbers will be coming up in the drawing. Okay, so I'll start from the top and I'll work my way down. You can see that things were 50-50, and then things got really hot and they just kind of stayed hot. Okay, so now I think it's going to start to cool off, and I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so again, I don't believe that any of these purple numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down, and you can see underneath Group 2, option card number 1, no purple numbers, and you can see that there's no purple numbers right here now. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Group 2, and my next pick is going to be option card number 3, no red numbers. Okay, so as I go down through, you can see that I have this bright red area, this bright red mark over here to the left side, and a bright green area over to the right side. I'll show you what that means. Okay, so you can see over here, the majority for this drawing was over to the 5, at least 3 of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers were over here to the left side. Okay, and when it's green right here, then that means the majority was over here to the right side. Okay, so I'll go down here and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. Okay, the last drawing was 4 red. Okay, so that means as I count down through, you can see that here's 1, 2, 3, and 4 groups got hit. So that's why I put a 4 here, and the majority of those 4 hits were over here to the left side, so I colored it red. Okay, so this helps me try to predict what the majority will be on either side here. Okay, so I kind of think that it's going to be the majority of green over here, so I expect more Powerball numbers, at least 3 Powerball numbers, to be over here to the right side. Okay, so as I go up through, again, I think it's probably going to be more in this, at least 3 of them in this area right here. Okay, so again, I don't think any red numbers are going to come up, so I think there's going to be a 0 right here. So I'm going to eliminate the red numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card, and the only ones that's left is the 4 and the 12. So I'm going to scroll to the left now, and I'm going to eliminate that 4 and 12 because I don't believe that they're going to come up. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Group 2, and my next pick is going to be option card number 4, no yellow numbers. Okay, so here's the yellow, and as I go down through, you can see that things are pretty hot, and they kind of stayed hot, and they kind of stayed hot. Okay, so I just think that eventually it's going to cool down here. Okay, so I'm expecting to see a lot of blue here in the future, so I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so over here to the right, you can see that there's been a majority of green, so I think there's going to be more hits over here to the left side than the right side. Okay, so again, the left side is red, blue, orange, and green. Okay, so now you can see that it's kind of opposite over here. Okay, so I think there's going to be more numbers still in this area right here. Okay, so again, the overall strategy is to eliminate numbers, and I'm going to eliminate this yellow area. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, the only 2 that are left are the 26 and 27, so I'm going to get rid of those, and I'm going to scroll to the left, and you can see that those are gone. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Group 2, and my next pick is going to be option card number 7, no red numbers. Okay, so here's option card number 7. Here's the red area, so as I head down through, you can see that things were kind of like 50-50. And then it got really hot, and now I think it's going to cool down a little bit. I think there's going to be a 0 here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these red numbers here. And I believe the only one left is the 18 and 22 on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate those numbers as well. So I'm going to scroll to the left, and you can see that 18 and 22 are gone now. Okay, so I'm going to go back for one more, and that's option card number 12, no gray numbers. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right here to get to option card number 12. And here's the gray area right here. So as I head down through, you can see that lots of misses here, okay? And then it started to really heat up. And it kind of stayed hot, and now I think it's going to cool down, okay? So I think there's going to be a 0 right here, okay? So I think the background will be blue, okay? So I don't believe that any of these gray numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them. Okay, so it was the 2 and 17. So I'm going to scroll to the left, and you'll see that 2 and 17 are gone, okay? And that leaves me with 5 numbers left, okay? So the 5, what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers will be the 6, 10, 34, 35, and 36, okay? But I'm not done my strategies yet, okay? It just happened to work out that I reduced it down to 5 numbers for this drawing, okay? Usually I leave at least 8 to 10 numbers on the game card, okay? And this is why I came up with the next strategy. So I'm still going to go through these strategies, even though I came down to the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? The next strategy is strategy number 5, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks, okay? And that, what this is that, again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers, so there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. Okay, so I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing. Okay, so how this works is right here, this number of 289. This is how many drawings I kept track of so far. And this goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers, okay? So out of this 289 drawings, 149 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers. 140 drawings have been the majority of even numbers, okay? So as I look at this, I see that in the last 6 drawings, the majority has been odd numbers, okay? So I'm thinking that the majority is probably going to be even numbers for this drawing. So as I go back to the game card, how many even numbers do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I like that. I like that the majority is already even. Okay. So as I go back to the 50-50 picks, how I use this is that I like to break it down into 5s again because it shows me a majority. So out of this 5 right here, the number of drawings out of these 5 drawings, the majority was odd numbers, 4 drawings to 1, okay? And down here, the majority was 3 to 2 odds, okay? And then it was evens, odds, odds, okay? So this is how I like to keep track of things, and now I think that this is obviously going to be odds as well, okay? But I think after this, it's probably going to have a run of evens, okay? So that's how you use this, okay? So the next one is high and low. All the numbers in the red are considered high numbers. All the ones in blue are considered low, okay? So it's been the majority of 142 to the high side and 147 to the low side. Okay, over here to the left and right, you can see that the majority has been 143 to the left and 146 to the right. And over here, one last one, red and blue, you can see that the majority has been 168 to the red and 121 to the blue. Okay, so I really think this blue is going to come up. Okay, so you can see that the majority of the numbers are in this blue area here. Okay, so I have one more thing in the 50-50 picks to show you, and this is for the red number, the Powerball number. Okay, so if you don't know much about the Powerball, What it is that there's 69 white ball numbers, and out of that 69 numbers, you have to get 5. You have to pick 5 correct numbers. And there's 26 red ball numbers, and you have to pick 1 out of that 26. So if you get all 6 numbers correct, then you win the jackpot of $100 million for this drawing. Okay? And again, my goal is to get all 5 white balls correct. Okay? So if I get all 6, bonus, you know? So, so here, looking at the Powerball number, over in this column right here, what I did is I took the 26 numbers and divided it into 2. Okay? So if you see a blue number down here, then that's considered low, 1 to 13. If you see a red number, then that's considered high, 14 to 26. Okay? And over here in this column, if you see a red number, then that means it's odds. And if you see a blue number, then that means it's evens. Okay? So why I do this is because I kind of like looking at the colors. Okay? So if I see like a red streak here, well, I know it's going to be blue eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so this green area right here tells me that the number repeated itself. Okay, so you can see that there was 2 14s came up right after another. Okay, so it happens every once in a while. Okay, that it does repeat. For this drawing here, I think that this is going to be blue, and I think that this is going to be blue as well. So I think the Powerball number will be a low, even number. Okay, so as I go back to the game card here, again, I think there's going to be more even numbers and more blue numbers, which you can see that's already happened. Okay, so off to the next strategy. And that is strategy number 6, picking the numbers I hope will hit from group 2. Okay, so again, this is all for if you leave more than 5 numbers on the board. Okay, usually I leave 8 or 9 or even 10, so I have to, this 50-50 picks gives me a better idea of what numbers are going to come up. Okay, so going off to the next strategy here, I think there's going to be lots of hits among the orange area. Okay, so as I go back to this group 2 overview, okay, I haven't showed you this yet, but this is what I call the group 2 overview. Much like I have a group 1 overview, this is the group 2 overview. Okay, so here this represents the 15 option cards in the red area. Okay, so let me go back to group 2 here. Okay, so again, I have 15 of these option cards, and they all have the same colors as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that there's 15 red areas, there's 15 blue, 15 orange, and so on. Okay, so again, I like to keep track of that, how many of these option cards have had a hit and a miss within these 15 option cards. Okay, so as I go back to the group 2 overview here, over on the left side is where I keep the hits and record the hits, and over on the right side is where I record the misses. Okay, so the magic number here is 8. Okay, 8 will show me a majority of things. Okay, so this last drawing there was 8 misses and 7 hits in that red, in all 15 of those red areas in group 2. Okay, so since the majority is misses, I color the background blue for cold. Okay, if the majority is hits, then I color the background red for hot. Okay, so now I just get to look at the colors again. Okay, so I think that in the orange area, this is going to be red. So I think there's going to be lots of hits to it. Okay, so as I go back to the game card here, this number in the yellow represents the game cards. Okay, so this is the option cards. This is option card number 1 all the way down to 15. Okay, so as I go back to group 2 here, I'm looking at the orange areas only. Okay, and the orange area in group 1 runs down from the 3 down to the 59. Okay, so as I go back to the game card here, I look at the 3 down to the 59. The only one left is the 35, so I wrote it down over here. Okay, and I'll do one more. Okay, you can see that in option card number 2, the orange area runs from the 17 to the 24. And you can see that there's no numbers here within the 17 and 24, so I put a 0 here. Okay, so this is what I do. I see what's left in a certain area that I think is going to have lots of hits to it. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next strategy, the last strategy, strategy number 7, picking my numbers. So we already know what I'm going to go with. I'm just going to go through the system regardless to show you, to demonstrate. Okay, so you can see here in the orange area, with this combination of numbers, this will give me 9 hits, 6 misses within that orange area. Okay, so you can count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, you can count out the zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the group 2 overview. So again, I think there's going to be 9 hits, 6 misses, okay, which will make this red. So I'll just give you a visual here of what I think is going to happen. Okay, so I hope that that's what happens. Okay, so again, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 6, the 10, the 34, 35, and 36. Okay, so again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. Okay, so we're all going to come up with a different result. Okay, but for me, I'm going to go with 6, 10, 34, 35, and 36. Okay, so again, if you like to use my game, if you're interested in playing my game, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Okay, I charge $10 a month, and that's to update everything. It takes a little while to do that. Okay, and all payments are made through PayPal. So I appreciate you watching. If you like the content of my channel, then please subscribe. Okay, and as always, I like to wish everybody the best of luck with your picks.